being diligent enough to come back. I hope it was worthwhile. And we really started off with Ignite and Innovate. And we got some rich nuggets about the digital roadmap and understanding some of the opportunities around that. And if you missed that, I hope you can kind of go back to our program, and a lot of the things will also be on our social media pages just to tap into what was shared there. We had an opportunity to have the PS here, and she shared that the procurement arm of the government is actually keen to work with innovators. And so if you go to PPA, they should give you some of the leads there and opportunities you can tap in. We started off with how to raise funding and just the chemistry around funding in the innovation space. A lot of us here like venture capital, and we get excited at the idea of it, but really do not know what that means. And the masterclass yesterday, at least even for myself, helped me just understand some new aspects around what does venture capital really look out for. It's not free money on the table, it's people trying to make money, and they have access to that. We also learned of opportunities the different partners have. So Stanbic Incubator shared that they have a catalytic fund that you can tap into. Response Innovation Lab that we also learned that Annabelle, and they're in the room, and they really, really don't like that I mess up their name a lot of the times, shared such brilliant ideas around there's an internship opportunity where they support with 80% being paid for and supported and 20% paid for by companies. Again, a lot of this information is going to be on their booth, and I hope that you can reach out to them. And I'm excited that the goal for this year is to not just have another panel conversation, but to have low-hanging fruits that we can tap into. A lot of you have listened to conversations through the year and all the events happening, and we're here to offer conversations that also have solutions, that there will be takeaways for you. So the theme for today, which is Scale and Succeed, sounds very sexy, because then we're building on the fact that we ignited and we're innovating. How do we scale and succeed? There was a masterclass today led by Zofi Cash, and as I just leaned into the room, the numbers they were discussing were a bit staggering. You know, when your company is bought at 10 million USD, and for someone who has not held that, can be really terrifying. But it's also nice to know that there's companies that are raising enough capital to then exit the market. As a small business, as an aspiring entrepreneur, how do we lean into that? How do we understand all the things that are done before your company exists? But it was also, they shared the small reminders. How many of you are business founders in the room? Yeah? Great. How many of you, as a business founder, have occasionally, pulled out a 500,000 from your wallet because somehow you need to top up on something? Yeah, I do that all the time. And it's sometimes these little things, right, that we feel like we know that we should have systems, but the reminders kind of set home. I was having a conversation with someone who said, the session was really relevant, and I said, but you've been in business for a long time. Why was this relevant to you? And say, the reminders just help you just come back to shape. The fact that you should have systems, your financial systems are going to make sense. Just because you know these things doesn't mean we practice them. I'm still struggling with being accountable and accountability and making sure that my finance, my wallet is different from my company's wallet, and because those things are going to, bite me eventually. But without further ado, I really want to let entrepreneurs shine, because you did not come to listen to my voice is beautiful though. So we're gonna hear firsthand from entrepreneurs that are already walking the talk. They have 10 minutes to share what they're doing, why they're doing it, what inspired them, and hopefully you have 2 questions for them before we jump in the session. So Trumpo, please come take the stage and shine.
She operates a hardware shop around Tinder. And a normal day for her operations is, if she has procurement in a day, she has to close her store and go shopping. And she spends about 6 hours in the field. But after that, she has another amount of hours looking for a transporter. So that's a wasted day, basically, if you go to field shopping. This is because logistics in Africa, especially East Africa, is very, very inefficient because it's operated by independent, informal operators. And that is why many businesses such as ours waste so much time to get their goods to their warehouses, but also to deliver to their customers. Ideally, this is how also we move our goods. This is not safe for our roads, but also not safe for what we move and the people behind it. But the impact of how we do it this way, really, it goes down to bite everyone at the end of the day. Because as a result, the cost of logistics remains quite high. World Bank did a survey, and they found that the cost of goods economy is attributed to logistics. And all this goes back to the inefficiencies that bring this cost to be this high. But also as a result, many businesses eventually cannot operate sustainably because this is on their margins. And that's why many SMEs remain stagnated and animal margins, besides the inefficient way of working. And that's what motivated us to start a simple platform that would bring about convenience in how we do things.
The Trampo Systems mobile application is an access channel for business owners and traders to access reliable, affordable, good quality trucks easily. The app integrates to a database which packages requests and forwards them to the nearest available truck when the customer makes a request. The customer is able to request or schedule, view trip details, track location, view transit history, and other data metrics all in one place.
To simply accomplish the logistics tasks. But besides that, we're also very, very keen on how do we lower the cost of transport. And that's why we have embedded AI technology within our platform that helps also support the drivers in terms of navigating them. And this eventually helps them cut down the time and cost that eventually is passed on to the final payer, who is in most cases the SME. Over time, of course, we've noticed that our platform has helped improve on the turnaround time to most of our clients, but also eventually it's proven to be a cost-efficient platform. Our business model is quite really simple. We take a 10% commission or charge, but it's charged onto the driver, so the customer or the business doesn't have to incur an extra charge. Our traction till now is that we've served over 250 businesses, but also onboarded over 150 drivers on our platform and generated over $25,000 in revenue. What we focus over the next 18 months, we're going to focus on growing our driver fleet to onboard over 500 drivers and serve up to 1,000 businesses within Uganda alone. That will give us revenue of up to $50,000. These are some of the clients we've worked with. Most of them are Ugandan and East African brands, as you could recognize. Most of them are within the retail space as well. In terms of the market, logistics in Africa is quite a big market. It's valued up to $350 billion. That's because everything that you buy involves movement. And that's why the market is that big. But of course, our target is really focused on the SMEs. And SMEs account up to 80% of the African market. But we're only targeting 10% market, which is about $2.8 billion. We're also raising right now our seed fund, our pre-seed fund. And this is mostly to cater for working capital, hire talent, and be able to scale our operations. We're not alone in this space. We have competitors from all over Africa and even Uganda. But what makes us stand out is really SME focused, and that's why our platform is built with the SMEs in mind. We have a diverse fleet of trucks as compared to our partners, who are mostly for export driven. But for us, we're trying to plug the gaps for internal and regional trade. This is our team. We all have a combined experience of over 15 years in building fintech, e-commerce, and logistics platforms for SMEs in Africa. Some of our partners that have walked the journey with us, we have YSA Uganda, that is why we're here today. Cosme as the founder for YSA, but also we're partnered with Aspire Seed of Stanford and also London Business School. And early this year, we signed a partnership with Haven, which is a Korean startup that builds cold chain, supply chain monitoring solutions. These are going to be helpful for a wider sector of businesses that we're targeting, especially those that are moving sensitive temperature products such as pharmaceuticals and food. You're welcome to a journey to change how businesses die in Africa and to enable many SMEs grow to become unicorns, perhaps. Thank you so much.
Does anyone have questions of $50,000? Or a comment, a remark? Or at least say his solution is brilliant, apart from the fact that I'm your competitor, but I'm really into export. But I also think that I can join your team since you have more male, and I will be an available female. Any thoughts, questions, flowers? None. All right, thank you so much. And next, we're going to have Phyllis from MSCAN. You can have, yeah. Phyllis has funds in the house, so go you. Please take your time to shine.
Morning, everyone. So they told us we are coming here to tell our story. So we are going to tell our story. Those who have attended MSCAN pitches, I'd be starting in a dramatic way, something like ashes to ashes, but not today. So today I'm going to tell you about the MSCAN story, our why. In medical school, I'm a medical radiographer by profession, and in medical school we had something called COBAs, or Community-Based Education and Research. So the spirit behind COBAs is to send you to villages to practice what you're learning in school. So me, a young medical radiographer, I was sent to a Match Health Center for a very remote place in northern Uganda in Lira district. No electricity, no water, and I don't know how they expected us who are dealing with CT scans and MRIs and ultrasound machines to practice in such a place. And in Uganda, when you're wearing a white coat, you're musawo, you can't explain yourself out of that. So everyone saw us in white coats and they expected us to work on patients. And during that time, that is when we had the unfortunate incidents where we were watching many women dying due to conditions that we knew could have easily been scanned and managed early. I mean, there are certain things that women shouldn't be dying of in this day and age, but women were dying of those things in a match. And when we came back to medical school and shared amongst ourselves, it was unfortunate that many of us had the same story. And that meant one thing, that what I was studying was useless to majority of the country. And that is why we created MSCAN. That is contributing to that statistic. We have over 6,000 women dying every year in Uganda due to easily detectable conditions. Yeah? The percentage is 70%. 70% of these complications can actually be scanned on ultrasound and managed early. So on a global scale, we have over 300,000 women dying every single year due to maternal complications. And unfortunately, 99% of these deaths are happening in developing countries like Uganda. So, yeah, that is why we created MSCAN. On the other side, you'll see the conventional ultrasound machine, and on this end, you'll see MSCAN. The conventional ultrasound machine will cost you anywhere between $10,000 to $250,000. MSCAN, on the other hand, we're only at $2,000, and that is why we are able to provide an ultrasound scan at only $4. Any woman in this room or man who has had an ultrasound done? Anyone? Wonderful. So the average cost in Uganda is about 65,000 Uganda shillings, or 60,000. That's about $16. So that means we are offering ultrasound at almost 25% of the cost. Yeah, so our device can connect to a phone, laptop, or tablet, and it can connect to both Windows and Android. Because of its portability, we are able to address this issue in areas like the AMACH that I talked about. Because if I have a solar panel and my laptop and my probe, I can scan as many women as possible. Yeah, so we have competitors, but from experience as a medical radiographer, we were 11 in my class. yeah? Majority of us are being taken abroad because the offers there are better. I was the only girl in my class, so to be honest, the number of radiographers in Uganda is lacking. You can deploy all the machines you want, but without training, you're not getting anywhere. So we have a holistic approach towards offering ultrasound. We go the extra mile to offer point-of-care ultrasound training to frontline health workers in low-resource settings. Yeah, we have been through the difficult startup journey of research and development. That took us about 4 years. We are now on version 5, which is what we have been selling and deploying. Yeah, we began as a non-profit. MScan Uganda was actually registered as a company limited by guarantee. And down a few years, we quickly realized that there are only so many people you can save without money. Yeah? You can want to be as much as you want to be a good person, you really need money to run even these initiatives. As you can see, we really show our case well. So we managed to raise $413,000 in grant. That helped us through the hefty research and development. When it comes to medtech, it is expensive. Those who have been in medtech, you know what it means to prototype. Yeah, so this is even little money. So when we finally came to the realization that we have to make money, we transitioned into a hybrid. So a hybrid, for those who don't know, is a company where you have both a for-profit arm and a non-profit arm, because we have to remember why we started. We cannot run away from our why. So in 2021, we opened a company limited by shares. And since then, we've been able to raise $67,000 in direct sale. I'm going to explain what direct sale is in a few. So we've managed to hold 13 medical camps. As per the numbers, by the end of last month, we're at 7,000, not at 5,000 anymore. We're at about 800 complications detected, and we've attained that in 6 years of operation. We are actually in 4 countries: Uganda, Kenya, DR Congo, and most recently in Ghana. Yes, so the revenue models. We have rental. If you're a company that does CSR, instead of dispensing just Panadol and letting people go, we give you the chance to have an enriched medical camp. We do rent out our devices at $200 per device per day. We have direct sale to hospitals and clinics at $2,000. Then we have the revenue sharing model. So MScan is entering the service industry of ultrasound. Yeah, we want to offer the ultrasound ourselves. And that is going to be at only $4 per patient. To put it in UGX, that's 15,000 Uganda shillings. So we collaborate with your local health center that is seeing so many mothers but has no ultrasound scan, have a contractual agreement of 5 years, and in that time, when we charge 15,000 per scan, we are taking 60% of that, and the health center is taking 40% of that. That is the breakdown of the costs that it takes to deploy. So all the health center has to do is give us space and commit to 100 scans per month. So the contract has a certain number of scans expected, therefore a certain amount of money to be gotten back in 5 years' time. Yeah, that is our market in Uganda. We have roughly more than 5,000 clinics and 2,400 health centers. That translates into $177 million. In the Middle East and Africa, our current market is about $1.1 billion, and is projected to increase to $2 billion by 2029. Yes, that's our big audacious ask. We are pushing the revenue sharing model. So we're raising our seed round of $1 million. This is to deploy in 138 centers. We've already finished the pilot. We were previously raising money for the pilot, which we managed to raise. And our pilot has 20 centers, which are doing well. And now we want to move to 138. So we will have broken even in about 2 years and 4 months. And that is how much we'll have raised. It could be more, but remember, we are remembering our why, and we have to keep the amounts as low as possible. So those are our partners so far. We have collaborated with several global partners, our most recent being Hive Collab and Cosme under the YSA product. We have worked with Outbox. We're an Outbox baby. We worked with UNFPA, Johnson & Johnson, YGAP, JICA, to mention but a few. That is our team. The 4 co-founders that started MScan in 2017. There's Dr. Himbisiwe Prosper, Innocent and I are medical radiographers, then our IT lead, Ivan Nasasira. We have a great team of advisors. Dr. Rosemary Bianima, she's the director of Mulago at the moment. Dr. Joseph Atbiamgisha, he's an OBS-GYN. We have other team members like Joel, he's an expert in embedded systems, and Gloria, who is part of Bank of Uganda. Yeah, join us to make sure that no mother dies while giving life.
Wow. I mean, if you don't have questions, you can at least say you're really inspired. Anyone have questions and thoughts? Yeah, you're quite far. I'm gonna, it's a workout. If you can meet me in the middle, that would be great. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes, thank you for the amazing presentation and what MScan has achieved. As a fellow medic, I have a question. How did you convince the healthcare industry, the medics, including the medical radiographers, who are normally avid against innovation and change? So what sort of steps did you do to convince them on that innovation? Knowing majority of doctors and other medics, yes, let me put it this way, they are not welcoming to any innovations.
Yes, our biggest strategy was to go to the place that medics fear the most. Any medic here know IRB Mulago? That is what every medic's nightmares are made of if you're going to do research. So what we did was submit a research to Mulago IRB, the toughest IRB. You can reach out to me after this, and we can discuss how we can partner.
You're the only woman. Do you want to? We can't fit through this corridor, so it will be this one.
Hi, I really enjoyed your presentation. I was curious, out of the complications that you've detected, how many were treatable and how many resulted in live births?
Yes, so when we go out into the field, it's very nice to be an innovator and you've come out with a device, but it's a whole other level of fulfillment to actually go to the field and actually locate complications. I'll give you 2 examples that I love so much. Okay, 3. 2, let me control myself. We went to Kalangala Health Center 4, and this lady walks into the line. She knows she's in early pregnancy. She goes down for a scan, and we find an ectopic pregnancy. An ectopic pregnancy, for those who don't know, usually when we find it in the line, you have to clear everyone else because it's an emergency. If it ruptures, that is instant death, yeah? So this lady is on Kalangala Island. For context, if you've never been to Kalangala, the ferry leaves every morning at 8 a.m., yeah? So that means if she was to wait another day, she was going to die on the island and not even know. They would probably say maybe she has been bewitched. It was so powerful for us to have scanned her, made sure that she got on the next ferry in the morning, and her life was saved. We asked them, okay, if it's about the ferry, I don't know what the government has done at the moment. I'm giving context of back then. If it's not for the ferry, if you have an emergency, what do you do? And the nurse told us you have to come up with 400,000 Uganda shillings to fuel the boat and take you to the mainland, either Masaka or Entebbe. And for most of them, basically, in short, death is the most probable option. So for us to have seen such a powerful story was so exciting. Another one was something as simple as placenta previa. Placenta previa means that someone has a placenta, but it's over the cervix. It's covering the cervix. So most of these mothers apparently would go to the health center and push and push and push, and they would keep telling them to push, and they would be bleeding out, and of course they would lose both the baby and the mother. So to find such cases and have this mother know that, okay, when I clock 8 months and a half or towards my due date, I'm going to go to the health center. For example, a match is almost a 2-hour ride on a boda from there to the main health center. So for her to know in time and go there in time and be safe, such things really make her day. Yeah.
Morning.
Morning.
Hi, Felice.
Hi.
Congratulations. I've been watching MScan grow over the years.
Thank you.
And I've happened to contribute some time to another health tech startup. And I have two questions. One is they're also at the point in the journey where they have to do a hybrid model. And the challenge is to find that balance between what you can charge for and what socially you shouldn't charge for. So getting a bit of a highlight on how you went about that process of identifying what you can monetize and humanely what you shouldn't. And the second is for this startup, their role is really training and equipping CHPs. And what they are trying to explore at the moment is building a training platform. So thinking about the challenges with getting a lot of last mile people to know how to use the product, is there an opportunity to plug in this type of product inside that curriculum so that it's available to many more people? Thank you.
I'll start by addressing your last question. In these things of impact, your biggest asset is partnerships. If you know that maybe UNFPA has this number of centers, they already have the connections, they already have the numbers, they already have the contacts and the access to the last mile people. Partner with these people that are in your sector and are catering to your target beneficiaries. It will make your life so much easier. The second one is about a hybrid model. I can't say we've nailed it because we are still sweating with it, but the basic principle that I learned early on as an innovator is human-centered design. Ask the people, yeah? So we reached out to these 33 centers because we already have 33 centers where we have our devices, and asked each of the in-charges, okay, on average, how much are women being charged for a scan around you? Most of them were saying 30,000 shillings. The least we had was 20,000 shillings. So our aim was to go below the market value. It's a delicate balance because now when you start to talk about things like raising funding, most funders don't want to hear about, they want numbers, yeah? That is a conversation I'll get into on another day, but when it comes to that, also know the right type of funding you're looking for, yeah? At the moment, maybe VC funding may not be for us, and for most health tech startups, at the start it might destroy you because you don't know how much you're going to do in R&D. It's a wild card, and you don't want VC funds going down the drain. So, yeah, take the time, ask the people, and see. Yeah, sure.
Hello, Phyllis.
Hi.
Congratulations to Dr. Prosper for the achievement.
Thank you.
Mine is based on the fact that there is a lot of bias when it comes to health centers. Most people in communities don't want to go there for medication. They think that the services there are of poor standard. So how are you going to make sure that the people in the community access this service? Are you going to incorporate VHTs or CHWs?
Yes, you cannot fail to work with the ecosystem that you find on the ground. You can't fight against it. So yes, we are using, first of all, health workers that they're already used to. That midwife that you've been seeing every day, that is the one that we are going to train to learn point of care ultrasound. So you know the mothers, they already interface with them. Let's now give them an extra skill. And when it comes to time for expansion, of course we have to use, you can't escape VHTs if you're going to go to low resource settings.
Morning, Phyllis. Thank you very much. My name is Manzi Kajina. I'm sorry I missed this, but I just wanted to know, do you build the hardware or the software? So for example, when you go to a health center, do you go with a smartphone or they have their own smartphones, download the app and they use it with your hardware? How is it? How do you work?
Yes, so our product is both hardware and software. And when we go to a health center for a deployment, we go with the full package. I think I skipped through that slide, but we go with a whole package, with a holistic approach. Let me just pull it up real quick. So this is what a deployment typically looks like. The device, the laptop, the solar panel, the accessories like gel, cleaning cloths, etc., the training, and the logistics of movement. So really, after this deployment, the health center has no reason not to perform the ultrasound scans. Yeah.
All right. We're just going to take a female founder selfie because it's amazing what women are doing, and the rest of the world can watch us. Be cool. Thank you so much, Phyllis. To be honest, we can be really upset about potholes and the fact that Umeme cannot be consistent sometimes, but it's exciting when you then hear such innovations being birthed in this country. And it's also a reflection that there's ESOs and partners putting in the work to develop such really, really, really brilliant solutions. And in this case, as they've both mentioned, USA. Why? There we go. Like, my alphabet is just off. YSAU. And I'm going to have them talk about what that really means before I jinx it. But this is a collaboration and a consortium of players. So we have Hive Collab, which is a space that supports startups. You have ITC that have really poured into this project. You have Cosme, and I think I've missed one more, and NitaU, and when I talk about NitaU, so we have free Wi-Fi that you can log into, update all your apps that need to be updated. The passwords are on the wall, but just to quickly help you, the Wi-Fi name is NitaU free Wi-Fi, and the password is UIW, all small letters, @23. So without further ado, I'm going to let Alan come over here and invite her panel. So we can dive into the more juicy details. Thank you so much, entrepreneurs, for sharing your journeys. Thank you for clapping.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to day 2. My name is Alen Najuko. I'm the Partner Success Lead at the Innovation Village. I'll be your moderator for this panel session, and I'd like to invite my panelists over in no particular order. I'll start with Rita Ngezi. Rita is a national coordinator for YSAU. I'll give you a brief about Rita as she walks up. Yes, that is Rita. So Rita is a national coordinator for the Youth Startup Academy, Uganda, with the International Trade Center, with experience in both private sector, international development organizations. Rita's experience excludes supporting multinational organizations in implementing impactful programs that foster entrepreneurship and promote the growth of entrepreneurship and startup ecosystems. Rita is passionate about innovation, entrepreneurship as a driving tool for empowering transformation communities. Welcome, Rita. I was waiting for that. Next is Emmanuel Chagara from Milima. So Emmanuel is a technology enthusiast interested in supporting businesses and individuals to securely integrate technology in their daily operations. Emmanuel has 13 years experience spanning over various ICT sectors, telecommunications, ICT infrastructure, development, software programming, cybersecurity. So all your questions about cybersecurity will be answered by Emmanuel. Emmanuel is a chief executive officer of Milima Security and Milima Cyber Academy. Welcome, Emmanuel. Next is Florence Otieno. Florence has overly emphasized about the pronunciation of the company. I found out today that it's not Enabel, not Enable, but it's Enable. So Florence is the intervention officer for digital rights for girls and women. So a brief about Florence. She's an advocate in the High Court of Kenya. She holds a master's of law in human rights and democratization in Africa from the University of Pretoria. We have a lawyer in the room. Welcome, Florence. I have a huge panel. Next is Olga Naiga. Olga is a business analyst at Hive Collab. So, Olga is multi-skilled in different disciplines in business, data analytics, strategy development, stakeholder engagement.